Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rafecal. It's been a little... well, okay, it hasn't been a little while at all. I've actually been doing a lot of games, like little classic games from my childhood here. And this is Lifeforce. It's part of the Gradius series. And it is a, you know, pretty typical spaceship side view, overhead view shooter. If you bump a wall, you die. If you get hit, you die. Normally, you have 3 lives, and this is a Konami game, so we are using the Konami code. I will also just specify, I am not actually expecting this to be a full run of the game. This is a demo because this is an NES hard game, even with 30 lives. I've beaten this game with Game Genie codes, but not not in a not actually legit playing through it. So, Lifeforce. Like I said, I believe it's I think it's technically Gradius 2. I'm not 100% on this. If you see me jumping to the front of the screen on occasion, it's to try and avoid those areas where those platforms just kind of appear like that. So, the basic idea with this is that you are making your way into a living planet to blow it up. It is an alien threat of some kind, and I don't know the details on the story, I'll be honest, but that's basically what I've picked up. There's a lot of organic feel to the land structures and the bosses, especially the bosses. The big notable things to this for me are it is like Contra and some of the other games like that, or a lot of Konami games, honestly. It is a very, very challenging game. And I'm saying this as I crush the first boss, but the first level is like the extent of where that leniency comes in. I promise. There's a lot of things in this game that just can kill you out of nowhere. And the big thing is, it is a snowball game. And by that I mean, if you get hit and die, you lose everything you've collected. Let's see if we can build back up. So right now we've got everything. We've got laser. We've got 2 options, which let me do an extended firing pattern like that. I could charge up my laser. I'm instead going to get a second force lined up. And we've got double missiles. We've got a few dots of speed. If you end up with too much speed... Oh. you end up with too much speed, you can get, accidentally run into walls and stuff, if you can't control it quite right, or if you overreact, or overshoot something. There we go. Okay, so we don't want to pick up any more power-ups now. And then Force Field lets you take one hit. It's basically a, I mean, it's a force field that survives for one hit. Now, it does not survive against everything. I don't think it even works on projectiles. It is literally just a, if there's an enemy that you can kill with a shot and you accidentally run into it, it will kill it instead. Oh, my frame rates. So, when you die, you lose everything, and you go back to the base gun. You technically have a chance to catch your options as they drift down the screen. So if you're about ready to die, the best thing to do is charge forward as fast as you can. Because there's a chance you can at least recover your options. And get triple fire going. So there's definitely this curve of, as you get into the higher level, or when you're in the early levels, it's a lot easier to keep all of your powers. But once you've died once, you're just done. So the 30 lives almost don't matter to an extent. Mini boss. Again, triple laser just wrecks things in this game. And I will say, I said the first levels where the difficulty starts ramping. I'll say the first 3 levels is probably more fair. This is me being extremely greedy. There we go. I've also played this game a lot, so take that, a lot of the things with, like, if it looks like I'm just wrecking the game, I promise that's similar to, like, Kung Fu. Go try the game before you say, oh, how can you say it's so hard? I promise, it's hard. And genuinely, some of the difficulty in it comes from not actually having the endgame stuff memorized the way that I do for the early game. One thing that I didn't mention yet that I definitely think is worth mentioning is the music. As I'm sure you've already noticed, this game has an amazing soundtrack. It's an early Konami game, but this is like some of the absolute best tunes. This one, Lifeforce is up there with Blaster Master for me, and I totally wasn't paying attention there. Hey, so that thing I was saying about how once you die once, you just start dying repeatedly, and okay. So now we get to see the game not crush me quite as much. Like I said, I basically have the first couple levels memorized. Those are the ones I played a lot as a kid. Those are the ones I played without Game Genie to an extent. I've gotten through the first 2 plenty of times before. Okay, I think I'm just screwed there. get a speed. Okay. Seriously? Okay. Anyway. Just because it's a lot harder does not mean that the game's over by any means. I'm still gonna keep playing. And I am gonna play until I die, until I game over. That's my goal. I don't know how far I'll get. I'm not gonna try and beat the game. I'm just gonna see how far I can get to show as much as I can. So, that was me being greedy. I apologize. So now we get to fight a boss. So yeah, as you can see, the game becomes a lot more less forgiving as you go, and once you make one little mistake, it ramps really hard, and it's a lot harder to keep recovering and keep up. Now, there's a few spots that give you time to recover. Unfortunately, I died right after the beginning of the level. That dragon you can only shoot in the teeth, so he has a lot bigger hitbox while his mouth is open. That was very greedy, and I should not have done that. Okay. So I'm going to focus on playing defensively for a little bit here, I think. Because I died right after getting the... Oh, crap. That's one of the ones you can kill. So this is where this is where the game starts getting very, very organically themed, even beyond what we'd seen before. This is clearly, you know, meant to be Bloodstream. This is also where we get the first really cool, like, little little speed area where it's dodging walls and praying. These little pods release enemies, so we want to kill them before they can get free. Part of the fun movement tech with the option is it follows you. So if you want to get the option doubling up on you, you have to like slide and then move back. Otherwise it'll stay to the side of you generally. You may have noticed in like level 2 especially, there were sections where I was like keeping the option next to me like this. And the reason for that is real simple. Oh my gosh. The reason, now that I'm hopefully done dying for a second, is because I think we've got another chance to recharge a little bit here. The reason I was doing that is because if you put the option beside you, you can use it kind of as a shield. That's what I was trying to say from a little while ago. Okay. This is gonna be awful. So the little lasers on the side kind of force you to stay towards the back in this section. And then there's the weird little shrimp things. Generally, if you shoot them, they split into two. You can't kill them. So you're just trying to get them to split into the two so you can shoot them. That was awful. You can only shoot this guy while his mouth is open. As you go, the eyes are gonna drift out. There we go. That was weird. That was me not mashing. I was holding the B button down. Technically, you can hold the B button down to shoot as fast as, or to shoot at a relatively fast pace. But if you mash, you can go a little faster. This is one where I remember using a turbo controller as a kid as well. Okay, that's level 4. Mashing does go a lot faster, and it's technically better, so... Ripple makes your shots expand slightly. It's kind of crappy. It's the main reason that I use laser most of the time. I actually genuinely don't know how to kill those things. It seems like some of them you can just randomly kill and some of them you can't. Okay, so we've almost got an option. We're back up to laser with a little bit of speed and some missiles. Crap. You can never turn around, so it's always good to keep the enemies in front of you. It's part of the reason you don't want to be towards the front of the screen as much as possible. I think this is going to be like a whole horde of these little robots start showing up. Okay. This is the part I was thinking of, where a bunch of them just show up out of nowhere. Oh, crap. Overcompensated and ended up losing it. So this is another one of those areas where if I had an option, you try and position it above you and use it as a shield. So you just keep shooting and keep a laser above you. This is also a good time to point out, speed is worth a lot more than you might think. Like with a lot of games, as soon as you start focusing on the rewards, or the offensive part, it's real easy to lose track of your defense. It's kind of the golden rule with bullet hell games and shooters. But yeah, speed goes a long way. Having good offensive power, getting a laser and some options is amazing. But being able to actually have the mobility to get out of the way also goes a long way. And especially for some of these sections coming up. mean, it's possible to do it without. It's not like they make it so that you can't do it if you didn't take some speed ups or if you die during this. And I will also just say, missiles go a long way. They're very flexible. I literally couldn't do anything there. I want to say... yeah. Remember that thing I was saying about how getting greedy gets you killed every time? That was me going for special items and getting killed. Okay, I'm just gonna stay out of the way. This boss actually functions a lot like the first boss, just with a different pattern and, I mean, he's very aesthetically different, but it's very... the strategy is very similar. He's kind of the floating thing that follows you around that you have to shoot in the eye. And instead of the little arms coming out of the brain boss, there's just going to be some floating orbs, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Okay, we're just gonna just be super aggressive, because I could probably lose a lot of lives on that boss, and losing 2 or 3 and abusing iframes is probably just as good. So the snowball thing, or part of the snowball thing I was talking about, is really noticeable right there. I didn't have them, because I didn't have my speed power up, I was lacking the mobility to actually hit all the guys that I needed to hit in order to get more power-ups. Okay. I believe, yeah. There we go. Generally speaking, the little orangey looking guys are the ones that we can shoot for power-ups, and the other ones are just regular enemies. I knew this was a wall section coming up, so I figured I would grab missiles and get a little speed instead of trying to save up for a laser or an option. At this point, I'm probably going to go for an option before laser even, just because it's something that I can potentially recover. But I'm genuinely not even sure I have a chance at getting either right now. So we're getting towards the end game. I think there's 2 levels left, maybe? Actually, this might be the last area. I'm trying to remember. It's at least close. This is either the last level or the second to last level, I'm pretty sure. I believe there's another fast part coming up here. Nope. And I lost my missiles, so I can't get past that. Okay, this is a quasi-boss. The jumping Easter Island heads. Ugh. We're getting... I'm fairly sure I'm not beating this game, but I'm gonna get darn close, I think. This is a good time to remind people also, the base game has 3 lives. This is very much designed in the arcade-style game, like Contra, where actually beating the game without dying is very, very hard. That's really bad. And this is another fast part, I believe, and I just lost my speed. Okay. 3 lives left. It says 2, but there's actually 3. Let's see if we can do this. Is this a... Wait, this might be the boss. Yeah, this is the boss. Okay. Actually, I take it back. This is the last level. This is actually the last boss coming up, I believe. And after that, there's a section where we have to do the escape, which is really hard. So, we'll see... Okay. And I got an extra life from that boss. So, let's see if we can do this. So this escape section is going to basically consist of a bunch of the back and forth. I don't believe we even need to shoot necessarily, but it's basically these platforms that are going to come out of the wall and leave gaps. Like that. So these are small gaps in the middle. That's it. Oh. Okay. I was not actually expecting that. So yeah, that was Lifeforce. That one bar at the end, if you don't move forward enough, it's kind of like, there's some of them in Battletoads that do that too, where if you don't move forward, if you don't know it's coming, you just lose a life. Which is what I was really worried about, is getting to the very end and just dying on that one bar. So yeah, this is a game that I played a lot as a kid. I've tried playing some of the other Gradius games, and they just never jump out at me the way this game has. I think most of it is the music in this. Just feels like it has this next level to it. And it has this aesthetic to it that goes a little bit past the sci-fi shooter genre typical, with the organic elements that really make it feel like you're doing something a little different. Now, after you beat the game, it does loop. You get to carry over your lives and your score. It's basically an arcade game. We are not going to play through again. But yeah, I just wanted to share this one. I feel like this is a game that I don't know how many people actually know it, I guess. It was very much a part of my childhood, but it was a game we had on NES. We played it a lot with a Game Genie code that let you... early on, it was infinite lives, and you never actually... I think you lost your powers when you died, but you didn't... but your, like, the number of bars you had stayed the same, so you could just leave your little icon on laser. And I think at one point I stopped doing infinite lives. I did the 30, but I still did that where you like got to keep your powers in between deaths. But yeah, I think this is a game where if you're looking for a good challenge, this style of game tends to be a good challenge. Shooters in general like this are just these great... I mean, they are literally a challenge. That's what they are. You can't just power through. Okay, you can power through a little bit if you have 30 lives, but you can't generally just power through the game. You have, even with 30 lives, it does take a bit of finesse. And, I mean, most of the time when I've tried doing it with 30 lives as a kid with no Game Genie, and by kid in this case, I mean like college, high school, not like little kid. I still rarely got past like the second level. So, yeah. I'm actually really excited because I have only beaten this game like maybe once without Game Genie before, so that makes me excited to both do it again and to have it be something that I'm sharing with you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed. Again, this is Lifeforce by Konami. If you are looking for it, I think it's NES only, but I'm sure you could find it somewhere. I'm not sure if it's on like any of the Nintendo stores or anything. But yeah, great challenging game, amazing soundtrack. If you can hear it over the shots being fired. And overall, one of the games from when I was a kid that I would highly recommend. I said I was going to play till I have game overed, and I'm done talking now, so I figured I was at 0 lives, let's do it. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Oh, it is actually really neat on 2 players also, although it is very brutal still, and you have to share power-ups, so yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. Check out the other content on my channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. And as always, have a good one.